Welcome back to the channel. It's Dr. Angela Cudger. How many crystals do you own? I know if you look around today, everybody either has a crystal somewhere, they're either wearing a crystal, they're using a crystal, they're doing all kinds of things with crystals and stones. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about what crystals are, how to choose them, how to cleanse them, and how to use them properly. And I'm also going to be showing you a little bit about how to do a crystal grid without going into a bunch of detail so that you understand how to add crystals to your repertoire. I'm Dr. Angela Cudger. I'm the founder of Legacy Holistic Health Institute. This YouTube channel is dedicated to the health, wellness, and spiritual journeys of women over 40. If you are not a woman and you're not over 40, that's fine. You can still glean from the content here, but make sure you pass it on to someone that needs this information. And if you haven't already yet, give this video a thumbs up and click subscribe to join our tribe. Now, if you are returning to the channel, thank you so much. Your likes, your shares, and your subscriptions mean the world to me. So many people are starting to find this channel, thankfully. But I still need your help to let them know that this is the kind of content that they want to see or want to have on YouTube. So I will say this week, after this video airs on Wednesday, you're going to actually get another video on Friday that will allow you to get the content I think that was missed the week before. Okay. So I want to make sure that everything that's coming out, you guys actually get. And so if you are not subscribed to our email newsletter, make sure you do that. The link to that is going to be in the description of this video. And so if you want to know the types of videos that are coming out, the topics that are coming up, or if you've got a topic you want me to explore and talk about, make sure that you send me an email and you get on our email list. Just click the link down in the description, scroll to the bottom, drop me your details, and then you'll start getting all the information about the types of videos that are coming up. That way you can know what's coming to the channel before it actually gets launched or posted. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about crystals. So when we're talking about what crystals are these formations that are created over hundreds of years in the earth. They are hard rock or some kind of sediment that form over time. From there, they are excavated from different mountains and different terrains and different areas, and they are either polished or they are tumbled or they are left in their natural state, which I'll show you an example of that here in a moment. They are left in their natural state, and you can purchase them because they hold energy. Okay, they come in an array of colors. Anytime something forms over hundreds of years, it has the ability from the earth to store up energy, and this is what makes crystals so powerful. You can feel the vibration of a crystal that has a lot of energy when you actually hold it. And then the other thing that I want you to be aware of is that as these crystals form, just know that the best place to be able to find crystals at the greatest discount is when they're plenteous. And the areas that they're plenteous in is going to be in the mountains. So if you ever take like a cabin vacation in the mountains, it might be a really, really great idea to crystal shop while you're on that side of town or while you're on that vacation. Okay. You're going to find the best cost for crystals. You're going to be able to get them at such a bargain because they have so many of them in or near the mountain, and they constantly dig them out, or they constantly find them. Now, if you're shopping for crystals in the city, you're naturally going to pay a higher price because they are so far removed from their normal environment, which is in the mountains. So keep that in mind as well. There are several places to find crystals. Some of the best things that you can do is find them on Etsy. Etsy is a great place to crystal shop, get a crystal overhaul. You can also find crystals at mindfulness stores. You can find crystals at your metaphysical stores. You can find them on Amazon. But you want to be careful and you want to make sure that they are really real stones. Some stones have been tumbled and some people don't prefer tumble stones. And I'll show you what those look look like, or stones that have been manipulated from their natural state. But I will help you understand how you can determine if a stone, even if it's been manipulated from its natural state, how you can determine if it truly is authentic. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So now that we know what crystals are, let's talk a little bit about the different types of crystals. So there are different types of crystals based on shape, based on what has happened to them, based on color. When we're talking about the different types, crystals have, and let me get my little arsenal here for you guys. And so I'm going to show you a few different types of crystals that are some of like the main kinds of crystals that people shop or people buy, or some of the ones that you want to kind of get like in your arsenal. We'll talk about this pyramid in just a moment. So the first thing that you want to be aware of is that crystals come in all shapes, sizes, colors, right? Like this particular crystal has its rock. It still has its rock. The back of it is still like it was just pulled out of the earth. This is actually an orange citrine. Citrine comes in orange, it comes in yellow, it comes in some different colors. Citrine has the ability to, citrine in and of itself, citrine, is huge for money manifestation. And we'll talk about why I actually chose this crystal, but you'll notice that it fits the shape of my hand exactly, right? I almost dropped it. It fits like in the palm of my hand, like exactly. This is one of the reasons why I chose it. And I didn't even realize that until like I got it home and I started to meditate with it. And I realized like, oh my God, it literally fits the shape or the palm of my hand perfectly. And so crystals, and when we're talking about the different types, you're talking about the types that come straight out of the planet. They have not been manipulated. They've only been broken up into pieces, but you can see the different layers of rock on this stone. You can see the different layers. And so you want to make sure that you have a mix of different kinds. This is actually a facial tool, but it's made out of rose quartz, right? It's like a skin smoothing tool, but it's made. Let me see if I can turn this light down a little bit, guys, to give you guys a better view of this. Maybe not. Hold on. That's a little dark, but yeah, no, that's not gonna work. We need a little bit more light. All right. So this is rose quartz. Maybe that'll help. No, not really, but this is rose quartz. And so it has a pink color to it. And I use it as like a skin tool, right? But it's been shaped out of rose quartz. So this is one of the ones that have been tumbled. If you want stones that don't feel rough and like rocks, then you're talking about a tumbled stone or you're talking about a carved stone. Okay. This is a stone that has been cut into what we like to call a crystal tower. And so crystal towers, this probably weighs about 4 pounds, 5 pounds, has some good weight to it. And that's how you know that a stone is authentic. Even though this has been cut, even though it has been cut, you can still see all of the different facets in this crystal. And you can also tell from the bottom and the roughness on the bottom that it is authentic. You can also tell by the weight of it that it is authentic. This tower, this particular crystal has to do with dream recall and manifestation as well. And so I keep this one on my nightstand by my bed. And so the other way that you can use crystals is to restore your energy and to help you thrive. And I do that with an organite pyramid. And so this has both organite in it. It has some other things in it as well. You can see that there are different layers of crystal stones in here. And so essentially organite helps to clear out the EMF from the different devices and different phones and computers and things that we have running all day long or that we're on. It kind of helps to clear out some of that energy to help us really regroup and recharge our batteries as well. So there are a different array of different types of crystals. All of them still have their properties. So it doesn't matter if this is this. right? So like this is citrine, but this is also citrine. There's also citrine in here, right? And so they both still have the same properties. One might operate a little bit differently because this has orgonite connected with it as well. So like you can see the spring in there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's springs in there. There's a flower of life in there. And then there is a spring. That spring is around a piece of clear quartz. I don't know if you guys can see that, but so that's an orgonite pyramid. And that usually stays on my desk or next to my computer, or it will stay wherever my devices are. So sometimes that's at my bedside because there's Alexa's there, my Apple Watch is there. A lot of things are at my bedside as well. And so you want to make sure that when you're looking for crystal types, you get the crystal type that makes sense for what you're using it for. So, for example, I wouldn't get a rough stone for something concerning my face. It's going to be a smooth tumble stone or some kind of tool, right? If I want to meditate, I don't necessarily, even though this fits in the palm of my hand too, right? Look, that fits right too, right? Um, if I'm looking for something to meditate with, I'm going to want something like this. Now you might look for a stone, or a stone might call to you, right? I always tell people that, and we'll talk about that when we talk about choosing crystals. We don't necessarily choose crystals. They really do choose us. And then when we're kind of done with them, or when the journey's complete, someone either takes it by mistake, we drop it by mistake, we lose it, and it just finds its way to the next person, place, thing, or situation. Kind of odd, but I've had tons of crystals that do that. And I'm like, I know I bought those crystals. I don't know where they are. I'm sure someone else is enjoying them, right? So remember, they carry their own energy and they move out the planet too, right? And so no matter which type of crystal that you actually get, they all hold tremendous energy and they can be used for healing. So for example, when I do my meditation and well, that leads us into our next thing. Well, how do we actually use crystals? So I'm going to talk about how we cleanse them first, and then we're going to talk about how we use them. Now that we know what crystals are, what the different types of crystals are, how to choose them based on color, and how crystals choose us, let's talk a little bit about once we choose a crystal and the type, how we actually cleanse it. Now, there are a bunch of different reasons why and different ways that you would cleanse crystals. Crystals need to be cleansed because, like I said, they come from the earth, they come out of the ground. So, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you actually wash them with soap and water, no matter where you buy them. Now, this might be obvious if you buy them from a mountain or a place when you're on vacation in the mountains. They are naturally going to have a lot of dust, a lot of dirt, and a lot of debris on them. I've never bought crystals, and I bought several in the mountains. As a matter of fact, when I shop for crystals, I usually drive up to the mountains and really look around. That's where you can get carved statues out of crystal for very, very low amounts of money. Etsy has these types of things from people who live near and around mountains that can ship them to you. They typically have such a surplus that you're just going to get a much, much better deal when it comes to shopping for stones and crystals. You'll hear the term stones and crystals used interchangeably, but most people are talking about the same things, okay? Now, when we're talking about how to actually cleanse them, okay? So, soap and water, mild soap and water. Some crystals, depending on their type, you're going to find that different types of harsh soaps might degrade them. So, you really want to start with like a lukewarm water first. And if it's a crystal that's like this with like a lot of the little rocky divots in it, you're going to want to take like a soft bristle brush and really clean out all of those corners with mild soap or just water first, because you're going to want to make sure that those crystals are not breaking down. There are some soaps and some detergents, like I said, that will break down or degrade your crystals. So you want to be very, very careful with the ones that you just buy. The same goes for when you use crystals like in a salt bath. Some salts, like Epsom salts that contain calcium or magnesium, might have the ability to break down or degrade your crystals while they're in the tub. So you want to be very, very careful. Some crystals, like for example, if you're someone who uses yoni eggs, like a jade yoni egg or a moldavite yoni egg, rose quartz, green aventurine, different types of yoni eggs that are made out of crystals, and I have several, so many of them. They help to tone the walls of the vagina. So they just make sense to keep them in your arsenal for you to stay healthy. And not only that, they also help to tone all of the muscles that tend to kind of separate. I always tell people, like underneath, like your hips, there's like this saddle of muscles that run this way and then they run this way, right? They run crossways. And as we get older and the quality of those muscles degrade, they start to split apart. That saddle kind of spreads out. And this is one of the things that causes incontinence. Well, one of the ways that you can begin to prevent that is to use a yoni egg. Either use most people start with a large one until they're a little bit more toned, and then they get a medium one. If you guys want a video, y'all know I can do a video and I can show you my arsenal of yoni eggs that I've used for years. But these work very well to help keep the vaginal walls toned. In addition to that, they help actually clear out energy from the womb space as well. And so they come in crystal form as well. They have little holes in them. They have little things, even though they're polished, they still have little pieces and things on them that let you know that it's a real crystal. It's a real stone. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you are getting these things in your arsenal and you're using crystals properly. The other thing that I was going to say is the yoni eggs have the ability to stain. You can wear them anytime you want to. You can wear them during while your cycle is active. You can wear it's yours to use however you want to use, but just know that some stones, just like they degrade with salt, they can also degrade from different body fluids and things as well, and they can stain from those fluids too. So keep that in mind as well. Now, there are different types of crystals that have different energy. There are some that will give you, like I said, dream recall. There are some that will help you sleep peacefully. Just so many different types out there, and you want to make sure you're getting the right ones for you. Okay. Now, after you've cleansed them with mild soap and water or just lukewarm water, you're going to want to start to recharge them. And there are a few different ways that you can actually do that. You can do that by number one, putting them in the sunlight or putting them in the moonlight. It's like your way of returning them back to the earth so that they can get the energy that they were getting anyway, in most cases. So you can either sit them out on a balcony. Some people like to put their crystals in water, clean water, and drink that water after it's charged under the moonlight. Some people water their plants with crystal water as well. It can be very, very powerful. Some people have, like I have it is tiger's eye, and it's a tower like this, but it's a little bit smaller, and it's inside of a glass water bottle. And so if I use the water in that bottle, it's charged with that tiger's eye. And so you can always use it that way as well. Now, the other way that you can cleanse crystals is by sitting them in a dish of iodized salt or sitting them in a dish of pink salt. The salt actually has the ability to clear the energy as well. You can also sage them with, you can smudge them, I'm sorry, with sage smoke or the smoke from sage or the smoke from, Palo Santo, the wood. So you can do all kinds of things to cleanse your crystals, but you do want to make sure that you clear the energy of the crystals before you start using them for your own home remedies and your own physical body remedies. Now let's talk a little bit about All right, really quickly, let's talk a little bit about how we actually use crystals. Several different ways you can use crystals. You can use them in and around your home to keep the energy clear. So, for example, I use them in my bathroom, they're usually at my bedside. I use them for meditation purposes. I use them on my skin or on my face for different kinds of reasons. I use them as yoni eggs. So, there's so many different ways you can use crystals. You can mostly use them though for your spiritual well-being. So you can use them to harness the energy that they have. You can also receive crystal therapy. So for example, when you're getting a massage, they can line your body with crystals to help with this, help remove energy, clear energy. You can do the same thing with a Reiki treatment, that you can use crystals for that as well. You can also use crystals in a crystal bath. The water will charge up based on the energy of the crystal. And now remember, like I said, crystals usually choose us. If you find that you are drawn to a specific color crystal. Like when I first got into crystals and stones, I was so drawn to green and pink. And so I learned quickly that both of those colors have to do with the heart chakra and healing of the heart. And at that time, that was the main thing that I truly needed. And so those colors, no matter where I went, stood out to me. And so wherever you're going and whatever you're looking for, whatever stones stand out to you. So if blue stones just make you go gag, make sure you get some blue stones, right? If red stones or the deep red crimson colors you really, really love, there is a reason that your energy is drawn to those stones. We usually choose the ones that our body actually needs. So allow the colors and different things to catch your eye. It doesn't matter if you have 18 green stones, right? It doesn't matter if you have the same ones. What matters is that you actually have the ones that you feel like your energy is calling you to. The other thing that I do is I like to wear crystals on my body. And so my ears have gauges. So I have a little bit larger of a hole in my ear, but this is a piece of moldavite. And so I also wear amethyst in my ears as well. So I wear crystals, something crystal on me all the time. I usually carry this one in my purse. So if I'm out in nature or anywhere else, I can actually just pull this out and meditate. It'll help ground me because it has the earth's pattern still attached to it. You find ways to use crystals in a way that works for you. Now, before we hop off, the last thing that I want to talk about is a crystal grid. Now, crystal grids help to harness and bring together different colors and kinds of crystals in a grid format. Now, what I'm going to be sharing with you is a flower of life board. You can get this board, it is just a piece of plywood. You can get this board off of Amazon. These come in different shapes and different sizes. I find that the round one works the best for me. And essentially, what you're going to do is sit this flat like this in the sunlight or on your altar. I keep this crystal grid on or near my altar. And typically, I align crystals on these X's in a way that's like a grid format. So, and you just allow yourself through meditation and affirmation to learn where you put the stones. Sometimes I also do candle magic on this board as well. So I might have an outline of crystals on the perimeter and in like the shape of a cross, and then put a votive or a candle in the middle of the crystal grid while I'm doing some form of candle magic or something like that. But that is a crystal grid, and it's used to harness the energy. I will also say that you don't always need this board or a board like this. Of course, doing a crystal grid is much easier if you have a pattern to go by, but you don't need one. You can actually start aligning crystals in rows and in pattern format, and that will be a crystal grid as well. Crystal grids, I've seen them on people's coffee tables. I've seen them on people's nightstands. Like I said, I keep mine on my altar. I've seen them in people's bathrooms. I've seen people sitting at the bar with a crystal grid in front of them, like a miniature one or like an outline of stones that they use. It just creates a balance of energy around the person who sets it up, and it helps to keep their energy clear. And in some cases, depending on the energy that they have infused into these stones, it actually creates a protective barrier, and it actually keeps people away, or it repels in any energies that are not aligned with that person's energy. Very, very powerful tools. Listen, I hope you got something amazing out of this particular video. Please consider subscribing, commenting, and sharing. And remember, we do monthly mindful prize drawings that are mailed out to our participants. We've already done 2 of those drawings for the month of December. And at the end of January, one person's name is going to be drawn, and I'm going to do the monthly mindful prizes as well. Every time you comment, like, or subscribe to this channel, your name goes into a drawing for mindful monthly prizes. Say that 3 times fast. All right. So consider subscribing, kind of something like this.